Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit, and happy Independence Day for those of you in America. I'm putting this little video out just simply to say, hey, there's no other videos today, because it is a rather important holiday for those over here, spending it with the family. Yesterday was my son's birthday, so I wasn't able to get anything done then whatsoever, because I had to deal with screeching proto-humans all day. I'll tell you, if there's one way to make you appreciate your child's behavior, it's to get 9 other children in the same room and see how much worse they are. Good lord, I think I've still got a headache. That was interesting. Also, why would you LARP at Magic Quest? I just have to ask this question. Have any of you LARPed at Magic Quest in the US? Stop it. Seriously. I'm okay with seeing, like, a 10-year-old run around with his little wand and the magic cape and everything. Yeah, that's cool. That's standard. A 30-year-old man doing that, not so much. Anyway, the EU also has something to celebrate here, an Independence Day of their own, as it were, because today, ACTA was struck down by the EU Parliament. This is a very, very good thing indeed, by the way. ACTA has been making the rounds as the other SOPA, which is not really all that true. It was actually a trade agreement. It still is technically a trade agreement, a proposed trade agreement. The problem with ACTA is that ACTA was a hell of a lot more complicated than SOPA. Very difficult to explain what ACTA actually is. Even the sites that have attempted to do so have come to conclusions that are rather vague. And that's simply due to the wording of the legislation. It is problematically vague. Far too vague. It expands copyright law in the wrong kind of directions. It puts a lot of emphasis on copyright enforcement as opposed to the exceptions of fair use and the kind of stuff that checks and balances copyright law to make sure that it doesn't go out of bounds. It was a corporately backed trade agreement that would have had negative effects on an awful lot of people. It would have turned a lot of things that were civil infringements into criminal cases. It would have involved jail time for a lot of otherwise fairly harmless activities. We're also talking about implications that strengthen patent law to the point where, say, there's a health emergency in another country. They can't bypass patent law to mass manufacture generic versions of a drug that they can't get access to from a pharmaceutical company. Right now, under the current agreements, they can do that if there is a public health emergency. There's also the issue that they were really pushing the idea of inducement, and this is something that means that a company or a product or a person is inducing, kind of leading someone to copyright infringement. The case with Betamax and VHS highlights that issue, the fact that, yes, this product could be used for copyright infringement, but that's not a good enough reason to actually ban its sale, and certainly not a good enough reason to sue the company that made it in the first place, because it has legitimate uses. Anyway, this bloody thing was extremely complicated, and thankfully, the EU Parliament has struck it down in a very decisive fashion. They're not mucking around this time, so that's very, very good news indeed. Doesn't mean it's dead. It could still pass in other countries. The US could pass it, but because the EU has rejected it, it might as well be dead in the water. So that's really good news for everyone. Unfortunately, this kind of thing will continue to happen because corporate interests continue to be able to dabble in politics. And dabbling in politics is not something I really like to do on this channel, but when it comes to digital copyright, that directly affects gamers. It also directly affects content producers. It screws with the stuff that we love, so happy Independence Day from US corporate interests, I suppose, EU, even though that's only part of it, but whatever the case, it's good to see that that is horrendously dead. We must sadly stay vigilant for the next attempt at pushing a SOPA, PIPA, or ACTA-style ruling through in any country. So do keep an eye out in your country. There may be a specific piece of legislation that's being passed only in the nation that you reside and isn't getting so much attention on the internet. Do make sure to look out for such things. Let's talk a little bit about the channel, shall we? You may notice there was a bit of drama over the last few days. Not really all that worried about it. Every now and again, you may see people in the comments section linking a screenshot of comments that I made or leveling accusations at me. By all means, have a look at the screenshot. Those were comments that I did make, and I stand by them. I don't believe I did anything wrong, and by the looks of it, the vast majority of my subs don't believe it either. We had a tiny little dip in subs that was replaced within a day and a half, so, okay, cool. Sounds good. You know what, I'm actually kind of proud as to how the subscribers dealt with it. I think that shows a definite degree of maturity amongst our silent majority subscriber base, that they're able to deal with that without too much of a problem. They're able to see my point of view. It's, at the end of the day, all about honesty and about how businesses are actually run, not trying to sugarcoat that. Businesses treat you as statistics. That's simply the case. There are certain ways to get what you want from a business, and then there are certain ways not to get what you want from a business. If a business says it doesn't take requests, then it doesn't take requests, and shouting at the business about that isn't going to make any difference. So, congratulations to the vast majority of you. You pretty much kick ass, so thank you. The channel will continue to be run in the way that it's always been run, the way that you actually like it to be run, and I don't see any reason to change that. That said, I think what I probably should do is be showing just a little bit more appreciation for those guys who have actually stood by me over these years and are consistent, loyal viewers that keep coming back and watching our content, rather than focusing so much on the people that just want to cause trouble. I will make a conscious effort to do that in the future. Alright, now that cuddle time's over, I'm not your mother, go away. I actually noticed something this morning that just made me facepalm really hard. So, I was going through my subscriptions and I noticed that Yogscast has started doing a DayZ Let's Play. And I was like, well, it was only a matter of time before that occurred. Everyone and their mother's doing this. And the amount of people that are criticizing them for it, it's like, oh, you're stealing ideas, oh, you're unoriginal. Good lord. Really, guys? Okay, let me lay it down for you. Here's the reality of it. Now, this is not necessarily aimed at my subscribers, because a lot of them don't actually reward this behavior, but those that do, keep listening. A little bit of reality here. If you reward people for creating crappy Let's Plays and jumping on bandwagons, then more people are going to create crappy Let's Plays and jump on bandwagons. Why? Because it's very, very easy. You don't require any specific skill to do a crappy Let's Play, especially not if you're doing it blind. The kind of people that make really good Let's Plays are the kind of people that are either exceptionally good at doing improv comedy, exceptionally good, or they have played the game before and they actually have a degree of knowledge which can add to the experience. Really good Let's Plays are better than playing the game yourself. I would never in a million years want to play Jurassic Park Trespasser, but I did, of course, watch from start to finish Research Indicates Let's Play of Jurassic Park Trespasser, because it gave me so much information about the game that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten. That was a high-quality Let's Play, and indeed the benchmark that all of the Let's Plays must be judged by, in my honest opinion. But if you keep rewarding those that jump on bandwagons, of course there's gonna be more bandwagoning. This is a culture of video making that has been created by people that just want the same thing over and over again. Why does Happy Wheels keep getting people watching it? Why is that? I have no idea. The game's sodding terrible, but more to the point, it encourages more and more people to make Happy Wheels videos. I've been tempted to make a Happy Wheels video. You want to know why? Because I know it would make me more money. But I don't want to do videos on the basis of how much money they're going to make. I don't think that's a legitimate way of creating content. The thing is, a channel like Yogscast does a different kind of coverage. They do a lot of Let's Play stuff. They do a lot of bandwagoning because you are predictably watching it. Not only that, but they're actually very good at it. Something to consider. If you're the kind of channel that focuses on improv duo commentary between a rather amusing duo that have a really good chemistry between each other, then a sandbox game like DayZ is absolutely perfect for them. In that case, if that's the kind of content that your channel puts out on a regular basis, you'd actually be kind of stupid not to do that. If you don't want these kind of bandwagons to occur where the same content is created by 2,000 different people, and that is a severe underestimation, I might add, then stop rewarding them with views. God, it has been so tempting to jump on bandwagons. It really, really has. I look back and I wonder, was my insistence that I not cover Minecraft a mistake? And I always come back to the same answer. No, it wasn't, because that's not the kind of channel I ever wanted to be. I think the channel benefited from not having it. Yeah, it would have had more subscribers, but what kind of subscribers? If I did 100 episodes of Happy Wheels, what kind of person would I have as a viewer? Probably not the kind of person I'd like to have a conversation with over a pint of beer and a packet of crisps. No, it's more likely I'd have the kind of viewer that I would want to tase if they got within 10 feet of me. Let's be honest, you can't complain about originality when you just watch generic Let's Plays. There is no originality there. The concept itself was unoriginal from the get-go. Guy plays video game while screeching a lot. Wow, yeah, that's truly a new innovation. If you don't want more of that content, then quit watching it. But don't blame the people that are making it because they're only responding to the demands of the market. They are supplying what lots of people are buying right now. I don't even know why I went into that. I read that comment section and I facepalmed pretty damn hard, so I thought I'd talk about it just a little bit. Alright, we'll cover a couple of other things before I wind up. First thing people keep asking about SCI 5, it is actually impossible to schedule this tournament. Really, we've looked through the next few months. There is no weekend where we're not going up against something that would either kill us or we just don't want to compete with. As a result, we're considering doing a couple of smaller kind of evening invitationals to tide us over until the next big one. We are sitting on a large pile of money for this tournament, and the tournament will be big as a direct result of that. We will put a lot of money into the next SCI, and it will be a really great event. Quick commentary. I did just a little bit of this on the CSN tournament. It actually was received pretty damn well by the looks of it. I do have one other match that I could upload. Aside from that, that's about it. I was only there as a guest for about an hour. I only commentated a little bit of it, so it's not something I would really do on a regular basis. People asking whether or not I should be putting esports content on this channel as opposed to the TotalBiscuit channel. TotalBiscuit is entirely a StarCraft channel right now. So esports content will come here every now and again. What it will never do is come in the same amount as the Shoot Mania content. That was a mistake. That was a very big mistake. And that will not be repeated. Any esports content I do that isn't StarCraft related will either exist on this channel in highlights or with the best piece of content put here. I'm not going to put 20 videos of the same game on the channel over the course of a couple of days. That's just silly. That was an error, without question. Admittedly, it was just trying to fill the channel while we were away and not able to make any other videos, but still, it didn't work out the way that we wanted it to. There was not a good response to it, so we ain't going to be repeating that. Thank you very much. What we will be repeating is This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. I reintroduced the series on June the 30th. It has done incredibly well. Ridiculously well. So we will be doing more of that. I'm not going to say that it's going to be regular because really it occurs when I find a decent game to do for it, and when I'm able to present it in an appropriate way. That series is a little bit more in-depth than a lot of the other stuff we do, since it's not first impressions. It's essentially almost a review. It's a retrospective of an older title, so I feel the level of detail and the level of research has got to be significantly higher in order to make that worthwhile content. So it'll happen every now and again. We might do a couple more games from the PlayStation 2 library. It's actually surprisingly much easier to do This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things about older console games than it is to do it about older PC games, because more often than not, older PC games don't run very well on modern machines, and it's very difficult to actually capture them. I do have a few other ideas in mind, however. I would like to do Messiah. I would like to do Giant Citizen Kabuto, but we'll see. I'd like to do it a little bit more often, because I think we've got into this pattern of mailbox WTF is, mailbox WTF is, and then weekends, podcast, and Terraria when we get time. Terraria will be continuing, by the way. We just haven't had time. VidCon has gotten in the way. We're going to do some this week, but Jesse Cox hasn't been available to do that, so expect it to happen sooner rather than later. But it would be nice to have one more regular series, or indeed irregular series, so we can spice the channel up a bit. I've also got an idea for another show, and I'm hoping that I can put that together. Don't want to talk about it just yet, but I think that injecting a bit of spice into the channel as opposed to the old regular is something that the channel needs to remain a competitive variety channel. Well, I think that pretty much about covers it, folks. Once again, happy Independence Day for those of you in the US. Happy Independence Day from Actor for those of you not. I have delicious cinnamon buns, so I'm going to go now. I'll see you tomorrow. What do you mean that wasn't an acceptable sign-off? What? Really? No? What? I'll see you next time. Yes. It's a cinnamon roll.